Righto, so I have in fact spent huge amounts of Pokemon cards, mixing both collecting and investing. Now I know what you might be thinking, wait, hold on, Pokemon investing, it's Pokemon cards, what are you talking about? Like, the who, the what now? But interestingly, Pokemon has had very interesting growth with their products, and they have become quite a new phenomenon when it comes to investing. Now, just so you know how I fell into Pokemon investing, I actually just fell into Pokemon investing by chance. I loved collecting Pokemon cards and I consistently noticed products growing in value over time. And then I'd look back at previous sets that I opened and I was just like, wow, look at the price of that. Like, imagine if I kept some of them sealed. And then I saw some of the collectibles that I had in my collection grow in value. And I was like, wait, what? This is kind of weird. Now, here's the thing, right? I actually once learned from a mentor who mentioned that his most successful investments in his entire portfolio were actually his art collection. And the reason why they were his most successful investments were because he had specific knowledge relating to the topic of art collectibles. And I kind of got thinking and I was like, man, I've been playing Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Dragon Ball all since I was like 4 years old. I've got like a pretty incredible wealth of knowledge in this area, and I feel like I have specific knowledge relating to these topics. And then I thought, hold on, could I use that same wisdom and apply it to my own collectible investment portfolio? And I explain a little more about how I pace myself with my investments a little bit later in this video. Though what's really important to understand, guys, is that I actually begun investing in Pokemon collectibles just as a fun way to diversify my investments. And you know what? The best part was that I actually understood what I was investing in, right? Because I wasn't buying something that I got a hot tip from a friend or something that I read about online. I wasn't following what the world famous books were telling me. I wasn't following what advice to invest in. I was just following what I truly understood. I started investing in a topic I understood. Now, guys, do not get it twisted. I am not saying investing in Pokemon is going to make me retire with millions in the bank. Far from it. Though I have to admit that my most confident investments are usually surrounding collectibles. And that's not because I have cracked some secret code, right? It's just for one simple reason. The reason why it's my most successful investment is because I actually understand what I am buying. And I kind of feel like I have learned how to strategically pick specific products which will become successful, just because of a lifetime of playing Pokemon games and collecting cards. Now guys, yes, I have spent huge amounts of money on Pokemon products and collectibles, and I have made mistakes that have cost me thousands of dollars, though at the same time, I've also made some pretty good decisions which have made me thousands of dollars. Though in this video, I want to cover what actually works, but not in the way of what to buy, but more in reshaping the emotional and psychology of this hobby. So in this video, I actually want to just provide some details on what I've found and not give you some, BS advice and just saying, buy, or because you're going to miss out on this card and you're going to FOMO. No, man, like what I'm really trying to do here is give you some of my life experiences that shaped my knowledge surrounding collectibles. Now guys, I think it's pretty important to understand something about me, that Pokemon cards actually saved me from one of my hardest times in my life. And I explain that in this video here titled How Pokemon Saved My Life. So, guys, please feel free to watch that if you'd like to get more perspective on my journey with collectibles and how I battled through my depression with card collecting. I've never really hidden what I've been through because I just think it's incredibly important for people to gain an understanding, of the natural ups and downs of life. Guys, it's pretty weird because when I made that video, I kind of just wanted to journal down my journey, right? I didn't expect so many people to have such a shared experience with me, but it kind of made me realize that making that video was the right decision, and I just really appreciate everyone who resonated with the video. However, guys, for this video, where I really want to focus on is some of the lessons I have learned with Pokemon investing and collecting, and to try help you gain an understanding of this incredibly popular and booming arena. Firstly, I'd also like to let you know that investing in collectibles is quite tricky, and the reason for that is because collectibles are usually considered a bit of a hobby, right? So whenever you try to mix something where you have motives to attain a profit, the water can get very muddled because, the whole point of the reason why we love our hobbies is because they kind of pull us out of the day-to-day, right? It pulls us out of the mundane. Collecting and hobbies, these things pull us out of this endless grind of, just like being a slave to capitalism, right? They free us, even if it is for a tiny little bit of time. Though once we try to mix the two together, the love for the hobby can die out, and I'd really like to ensure that the love doesn't die out. Man, like I have a lifetime of experience with this because my biggest hobby in my teenage and early 20s was filmmaking, right? So when my daughter Aurora was born, I needed to make a bigger income. So I started focusing on building up my video production business, Dream Drop Studio. And guys, at the start, it was great. I was doing what I loved and earning an income. Though, as a new dad and running around the clock, I noticed from being a hobby, it became working 12-hour days for clients, editing with deadlines, redoing edits, filming events, delivering footage, setting up cameras, trying to make it a profitable business. And then I noticed, hold on, this isn't even a hobby anymore. Like, I actually used to wake up early on weekends and then travel around where I lived in Australia and film the outdoors. And now I never even do that, which is kind of heartbreaking as that was once my escape, though Pokemon and Pokemon cards have kind of replaced that for me at the moment. But guys, the same holds true with Pokemon investing and collecting. If you're completely in this for profit and you buy every set with money in mind and every purchase is completely tied with a specific outcome, you will fail and you will hate this. After spending so much money on collectibles and losing money on ripping packs, I have found one of the best pieces of advice I can give is to ensure you have a healthy balance of love to what you're collecting and a hopeful desire that some of your products can grow. Like one silly thing I used to do was I used to buy products that I didn't even like because I would read about them and then I would think, oh, they're gonna rise. Though here's the issue when you do something like that. If the product doesn't rise in value and you never love like the single that you purchased, you just end up hating what you bought. The best way to mitigate this is only buy what you genuinely love in your collection, or if it's sealed, ensure that one day you would love to rip it open. Like for example, I never invested in Battle Styles, right? But that's because I personally just didn't like it that much. This year, at the start of the year, I knew I could buy Battle Styles for a good price, and I knew it would probably go up in value, but I didn't bother because I know if Battle Styles never went up in value, the one day that I ripped it, I'd be left with a product that I didn't really like. So make sure that it fits the love of the category along with the investment. Don't try to do one just because you've got a hot take. Conversely, I bought some Japanese 151 during the reprint and then the price dropped even further during the second wave. Though it doesn't bother me at all because I love Japanese 151. So whether it goes up and down in value doesn't have that much of an emotional and psychological impact on me. Guys, this is crucial to understand because if you're buying what you love, it just puts you in a better emotional position, right? Now, with saying that, guys, one area I'd encourage you to never dabble in is using buy now, pay later services for purchasing Pokemon products, investments, and especially for ripping packs. These services literally prey on you. They are not designed for the financially literate individual. They sell you a dream by focusing on intelligent psychological tricks to ensure it seems reasonable. You see, guys, our minds are very interesting. When we see a whole picture, we get very overwhelmed. Though when something is broken down for us in small pieces, it becomes incredibly attractive. That's why buy now, pay later services are so well designed. Because what happens is when you see, oh, $120 booster box, no, it's only $15 for the next 8 weeks. And then you can have it right now. But here's the thing, guys. Every time you take debt today, you're only robbing yourself from your future self. So try your best to avoid these services. Though guys, a positive about this is you can actually use the technique of segmenting for positive things in your life. For example, there's something known as the Pomodoro technique, which I've used for years. If I have to do something that will take like 10 or 15 hours, like editing this video right now, I use the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique works by having a timer and you work for 25 minutes and you have no distractions. Then you take a 5-minute break where you do nothing. Just grab a glass of water and drink it. Then you do another round of 25 minutes. So this helps your mind focus and puts you in a position to help achieve your goals, and it acts as a reset. So sometimes I segment a 10-hour job in 40 Pomodoro sessions. So guys, this is where the act of segmentation and making something smaller can actually work to your benefit rather than damage you. Like even right now, guys, I actually have a goal to gain over 100,000 subscribers. And if I looked at the whole picture, I'd probably never make another video. But if I split it into 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, then my mind feels it's somewhat more achievable. Also guys, I'd just like to say, if you have been enjoying the content, feel free to subscribe to help embark on the journey with me. I'd love to have you guys on board the channel. But guys, you know, segmenting big tasks into smaller tasks plays a trick on your mind, which makes goals seem more accessible. So the same goes with your Pokemon collection goals. It would be very poor form to think you can collect every master set and every single card. Though, if you segment your goals, you probably can. Instead of trying to chase older sets, just have a strategy of what to buy. Maybe you want to collect every Scarlet and Violet booster box in ETB. Well then set a goal, segment it with the sets, and start like that. And as the years and months go on, you'll grow your collection and you'll be able to grow your Pokemon collection to new heights. Though guys, it is important to understand, Pokemon collecting and investing is not infinite growth. Things that can seem like surefire bets, like during 2020, right? The whole hobby was fixated that vintage Pokemon cards are gonna boom, right? And vintage Pokemon cards literally seem like the silver bullet to success. Though guys, what's happened now? 4 years later, and nearly every single vintage card has crashed. Some even dropping more than half in value. And do you know why vintage cards failed? There was one main factor at play, and I explain exactly what that is within this video on screen right here. I uncover some of the reasons why vintage cards failed, and I go over some of the most iconic vintage cards and show how they dropped in value. Though there were certain areas at play that are important to understand. And who knows, it could happen with modern if you're not careful with what you buy. Click that video guys, and I'll see you there.